Hey you guys, welcome to I Cook and Paint. Today we are going to make our very own homemade Tutti Frutti. So if you don't know what Tutti Frutti is, here's some right here that I've already made. And this is basically just candied fruit that you add to your cookies, your fruitcakes, your ice creams, your breads, all kinds of stuff. Believe it or not, it's made out of one fruit, and that is the green papaya. I'm gonna cut the bottom and the top off. And now we're gonna peel it. Okay, now we're gonna cut it in half down the middle. And then we're gonna scoop out all these seeds. So just take a spoon and I'm gonna have to kind of do this. You also wanna scrape it out so that it's nice and smooth, all in here. Once your papaya is all seeded and scraped, you wanna cut it into cubes. I'm gonna make mine about that big. I know they look pretty big, but just keep in mind that they do shrink by almost half by the end of this, so you don't want to make them too big. I'm making mine about that big, alright? I have here about 4 cups of water that's come to a boil, and I have a total of 4 cups of green papaya. So I'm just gonna add these into the water, and we have to blanch them for 5 minutes. Alright, so my papaya's been boiling for 5 minutes now, so I'm gonna take it off the heat and I'm gonna drain it. Set that papaya aside, and right in the same pot, I'm gonna add 2 cups of sugar and 2 cups of water. And you don't even have to stir it or anything, just have it on high heat and let it come to a boil. I'm also gonna add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And once you see that it comes to a full boil like this, you add in your papaya pieces. So now we're gonna cook this on medium heat for 15 to 20 minutes. It has to be boiling at this nice steady pace. You want this syrup to reach a thread stage, so if you take a little bit of the syrup and let it cool down, and then you pull it between your fingers like that, and if it forms a little thread, then that means your syrup is ready. Alright, so I'm gonna take it off the heat now, and just let it chill out for a little bit. After a few minutes of cooling, I'm gonna add some vanilla, just about a teaspoon or so. Let that mix right in. So now that my papaya has cooled down a little bit, I'm gonna take these 4 little tins and just divide it among them. I'm gonna make 4 different colors of this. And you can just add the syrup right in with it. Now time for some color. I'm gonna make yellow, green, and red. And then the 4th one, I'm gonna leave white. Alright. There we go. Alright, now that our Tutti Frutti is all colored, we're gonna cover it up with plastic and let it sit in the fridge overnight. That'll give the syrup and the color a chance to really get into the papaya. Alright, it's now the next day and these have been sitting in the fridge all night. So now we have to strain the syrup out of each one and lay it out on paper towels. So I have here some plates with paper towel, and I'm just gonna take each one here and leave behind as much of the syrup as I can. You want the paper towel to soak up any excess syrup. But don't throw that syrup away. Save it and use it to sweeten your gingerbug sodas. You can sweeten your coffee or tea with it. You could even flavor it with some liqueur and brush it on cakes. It's basically a simple syrup, and it'll keep pretty much indefinitely in your fridge. Once your Tutti Frutti has dried for about an hour on the paper towel, you now take them off and let them dry for the rest of the way on the bare plate. Alright, here we are. It's 24 hours later, and this is what the Tutti Frutti now looks like. You can see that it's reduced a little bit in size, and they're actually stuck to the plate. And they should also feel a little bit less sticky than they were yesterday. Also, when you drop them from the plate, they should make this sound. Hear that? If they don't make that sound, it means your Tutti Frutti isn't quite dry enough yet. By the way, you don't even have to dry out your Tutti Frutti. You can use it right away, right out of the syrup after it's soaked in the syrup all night. Drying it is just a way of making it easier to store. It can take longer than 24 hours for this to dry out. If it's 48 hours later and your Tutti Frutti still isn't dry, then set your oven at its lowest temperature. That's usually about 170, 180 degrees Fahrenheit, and let them bake in there for about 2 to 3 hours. That should take care of the rest of the drying. And then I'm going to put them into this jar. There we go. Look at how pretty that looks. Wow, yummy Tutti Frutti. And now you can have it for all your cookies, cakes, ice creams, breads, and whatever else you like.